You're a wizard, Harry. Welcome, everybody, to Better Than Reality. I am your host, Hannah without an H, and today my guest is Christina, my friend, my traveling partner, my coworker. We know each other very well.
Thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome. Alrighty, so this week we are talking about Harry Potter, which is probably Christina's favorite fictional world.
Yes, it is.
So
without a doubt.
Yeah. So you are very excited. I, on the other hand, I have a confession to make to everybody. Harry Potter is probably my least favorite fictional world. I know I'm going to make a lot of my friends angry by saying that, and a lot of other people that I don't know, but I will get into that later in the conversation. But this week we're just going to do a general discussion on Harry Potter because it is the first week that we are introducing this fictional world.
I'm ready.
Let's get into it. Alrighty, let's talk Harry Potter. So I'm going to keep this very positive. And I noted that to myself, Hannah, keep this very positive because there are a lot of great things about Harry Potter. There really, really are. So I'm just going to start with asking Christina, what makes this world so unique or special to you? Like, what do you like about it?
I like the castle. I like the robes. No, just kidding. No, I like the world. It's a nice little neat fiction. And because I don't really watch a lot of fiction either. So this is kind of what stands out to me the most is like the castle, the people, the characters, and all that.
And the magic.
Can't forget about the magic.
Absolutely. I like for me, I'm going to focus on the likes and the positives to start. Like you said, I like the whole world that J.K. Rowling built. I think it's very unique. And I mean, you can't really go wrong with magic, especially if you're a huge fan of fantasy and fiction like me. I love the magical elements, and I like the Hogwarts, the castle, and I like how the whole world is built into our own world, but it's like hidden into our own world, you know? I think that's very cool and very unique, and I like that they're still kind of intertwined, but at the same time, you can't see, like the Muggles can't see.
No.
The magical world, like what technically would you call it?
Well, I would call it a magical world within London, England, but you have to access it through a secret portal that no one other than
only the wizards
have access
how to get.
Exactly.
Muggles are not allowed.
Not Muggle friendly.
No, unfortunately not. But I like that idea that it is integrated into our world, but like hidden and stuff like that. And I think that was a really cool concept. Obviously I like the Hogwarts and the different houses. That's a very cool concept, and how you get this letter and you're invited to this school of magic. It's such a cool concept. I can't deny that. I can't deny the world, and the concept is very cool. Another thing that I want to point out is I really like some of the magical objects too that she was able to think of and create.
Yeah.
One of them is, one of the Deathly Hallows, the Cloak of Invisibility was one of my favorites.
I wish I could have that.
I wish I could have that too.
Like, how cool would that be?
Because I've always wanted to, you just those moments where you're like, I wish I was invisible and I could just not be seen by anybody and just kind of have some privacy, but also like just so I could sneak into places unseen.
I was just gonna say, for me, it's like the wanting to sneak into places to find out what's going on. Like how many times Harry Potter does that? I would love to do that.
Oh yeah, and especially because we're both adventurous too.
Yes.
Like I would just want to go to those places that are restricted.
And then just find a way, and even in Windsor, I could think of a few places that I'd want to have an invisibility cloak to sneak into.
I know, so many instances. I would love that. Even in school, it would have been so cool.
Oh, hands down. Cool. Oh yeah.
Oh jeez, I only wish. Let me see. Another object, the Time Turner. I really liked the Time Turner. That was my favorite movie, I think, is the third movie with the Time Turner. Prisoner of Azkaban, I think.
Yes, it is.
Was it? Yes. Yep. That was my favorite movie out of all of them. I'm sorry, but I'm not a fan of any of the other movies other than part 2 of 7. I liked that movie as well, partially because of Snape. he is my favorite character, and I liked the reveal of his backstory, and you finally found out
which is really nice.
What he was all about. But I will get into that in another episode, because our next episode we are going to do just on the character Snape, because he is my favorite. Yeah. So is there any object that you can think of off the top of your head where you're just like, that would have been super cool to have, or a potion?
Honestly, the two that you mentioned were honestly my two. Like, I'd say the invisibility cloak would be my number one. Like, if I could have that, it'd be so cool.
And the, what was it? The map, the
Marauders map.
Yes, that's what it was called.
That is also really, really neat.
Like, that would be amazing. Like, if you could have a map where you could see what everyone was doing and essentially spy on everybody.
And where they're going, and you would find like secret passages to certain areas that you didn't know existed.
Restricted areas. Yeah. And you could easily hide it.
Yeah. Mischief managed.
Mischief managed, and I solemnly swear I am up to no good. That's how they turned it on, right?
Yep.
Oh man, that would have just been so cool.
Yes, such a cool map.
Such a cool idea. And I like how everything is kind of older, like they're right on parchment and everything. I like that feel.
Me too. I was going to comment, I love the time period that they kind of like set it in, because it's not.
Yeah.
It
is present day.
It's present day, but they still use a lot of the old school style, which I love. Like, I love the feather and quill pens. Just so good.
Me too. It just adds another element of uniqueness to it.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm more for old world versus new technology.
Oh, so, I'm with you on that. Like, it's a lot. So it's a lot nicer. That
really appealed to me too. Another object I wanted to say was the beaded bag that Hermione has, where you could put anything in it.
Yeah.
And it's just this tiny little bag. I'm like, that would be so handy for traveling.
Honestly, though.
So
don't have
handy.
to carry like 3 different backpacks walking around London, England.
And that would just have everything that you need in it. It would it'd be so convenient.
One day,
hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
I kind of briefly mentioned Severus Snape too. He was another one of the things that I really, really liked about this world was Severus Snape. He was my favorite character. To me, he actually redeemed the entire Harry Potter story for me. Again, I'm going to try and keep it positive, and I'm not going to go off, because I could go off many episodes about everything that I think is wrong with Harry Potter, but I'm going to keep it positive. I'm
glad.
Severus Snape was a great character. I can't think of any other ones who I would say were good characters. Maybe Hermione. I did like Hermione. But Severus Snape, for me, he just stood out. But I'm not going to go too much into detail, because you guys are going to tune into our other episode just about Severus Snape. How about you? Do you have any character that stands out to you?
I'd say my favorite, or one of like my top few favorite characters, would be Ron. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I don't know. There's just something about him that I really like, and I associate him with another character that I used to like on a different show. So I just like the reference. Like, he reminds me of that character.
Yeah.
And then love Hermione. I love her brain. Like, she's such an intelligent witch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she is. She does a lot for
so
Harry,
much research.
Ron.
So much.
I mean, if she wasn't there, I don't think things would have ended well.
Oh, they would be screwed without Hermione. Hermione was the brains of all of their operations, essentially.
Mm-hmm. And I like that she was Muggle-born, too.
Yes, which makes it even better. It's like,
it does.
See, look at me. I can do anything 10 times better than you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she works hard for it, too. Like, it's not that...
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that I like,
she's not
too.
just... Like, she does have some natural gifting, but she studies very hard. But she
studies. She works for what she wants. It wasn't just naturally given to her, because she wasn't born in that world.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? I wanted to mention Quidditch, too, because I liked Quidditch, because I'm a sports person, and I'm like, this is cool. This is really cool. I like,
I'm not a sports person, but I really enjoyed watching all the Quidditch games.
Yeah.
It's just so entertaining. Like, how do you fly on a broom and like play all these games?
I know. And love,
like, if you get knocked off, like, you're done for.
Pretty much. I know. I'm like, how do they let like 12-year-olds play this game?
Well, technically, you're not supposed to. Harry Potter was the youngest to play the game.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Technically, 12-year-olds aren't supposed to play.
That's true.
He was the exception.
I could see myself playing that game, because I like high intensity sport, and that's very high intensity sport.
I remember watching Harry Potter as a kid and watching the Quidditch game. I'd be like, how cool would it be to like fly around and like hit a ball?
So cool.
Because, you know, like the 10, 12-year-old you is like, That's really neat. I want to do that. Why don't we have that? What is this?
I know. Like, come on. I wish the ability to fly would be amazing.
Right?
Amazing. And that's one of the other things I love is like being on the broomstick and being able to fly. Oh,
literally anywhere
so
across
cool.
the world.
Literally.
I want that.
Yeah, like that's how I would travel. Just that in my old beaded bag. I'm good to go.
You literally have everything you want.
Literally.
Flying and everything in your bag.
Yes.
And you don't even have to pack or unpack.
I know.
It's great.
You just wouldn't want to be out in the rain. But other than
I
that,
mean, you know what? Been there, done that. It's fine.
And you know what? You know magic, so you could protect yourself.
Exactly. Like
I'm
you could
sure.
just have a little dome over you while you're walking.
Yeah. There you go. Problem solved. Anything else that stands up to you about this world that you actually absolutely love that we haven't mentioned? I know we've mentioned a lot.
I'm trying to think, but I think that might be everything.
One more thing to me, the music. The music in the movies, I really liked.
Yes.
Good music.
Oh, for sure.
I am going to give them that. Very good music. They did a good job with the music. And it fit very well.
Oh, yeah.
It really did. Made a lot of scenes more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Just captured the magical
essence of the whole Hogwarts world.
It really, really did. So they did a great job with that. Okay, I'm just really quickly going to move into a few dislikes. And again, I'm going to try and keep it positive. But I also want to have a balance here of like things we like and dislike. Before I get into it, is there anything that you dislike?
My dislikes. Let's see. I think the thing that would that bothers me the most is the recklessness of Harry Potter. And I know you wanted to touch on that.
I did.
And not so much like the recklessness, just the fact that like, I don't know how to word what I want to say.
But no, that's good.
Like,
you brought up reckless. So I'm going to continue with that. So one of my dislikes is I actually do not like Harry Potter as a character, which is one of the reasons I found it hard to fall in love with this world, because the main character, I thought, yeah, he's reckless.
He's whiny. That's what I wanted to say. He's whiny.
He got a lot of people killed because of his reckless actions, which it's going to happen. He's a kid, but he didn't learn from his mistakes. You know what I mean?
It comes from a good place, and I understand that. But like, let your friends help you. Let other people in on what you're planning to do. Don't be so.
But the other thing I don't like too is he relies too much on Hermione and Hermione. I keep saying her name wrong.
I'll forgive you.
Thank you. We'll see if everyone else forgives me.
Probably not.
Probably not. He just relies too much on them. Like, really, most of the things that he was able to do and that happened, I mean, Hermione was the brains behind most of their plans.
Oh, like 90% of the plans was all Hermione.
So it's like, what is Harry Potter doing? Like, he's the chosen one, but that's it. He does not have anything else going for him, at least I don't think. And he wasn't able to come up with plans for himself. And the plans he came up with were reckless and stupid. I'm sorry. They were.
What I find with Harry Potter is that he's more of a do now, think later.
Yes.
Which is what you notice in most of the movies, is that he runs into things before he plans out what he wants to do, how he wants to go about defeating Voldemort.
And it's like
everything else.
It's fine. I understand you're also a teenager and you're growing, and teenage boys are like that. But at the same time, he keeps doing it. It's like sooner or later you think he would learn or take the advice he's getting from Dumbledore and some of the other characters. Like,
I mean, Dumbledore is how many years old? Like, he's lived through a lot.
Yeah.
Take his advice, use his help,
please.
And then maybe instead of running into things right away, sit for a minute. Not even like 5-10 minutes. Like, sit for 1 minute, process things, and then like attack.
Yeah.
Like, just half a plan would be better than running into things and then thinking about it later and having it eat at you, because you're like, well, I shouldn't have done that. I should have thought this through. I should have done this. And I could have avoided a whole other mess. Yeah,
exactly. And he was very boring to me too. He just a boring personality. Like, he had nothing going for him to me. I don't know.
But I think that was the point, is that he's literally nothing. And that's how...
Yeah, I do understand that.
A whole thing.
I do understand that. I don't know. Just everything like clumped together. I'm not a fan of his character. I mean, people will argue with me. That's fine. But I stand strong with my opinion. And then the other thing for me is just the overall story I found too slow, too slow for me. It didn't move fast enough. There was a good story, especially at the last few movies when things really started to pick up and they're finding all the Horcruxes and doing all this. And then you find out like everything that Snape had done for Harry and blah, 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 blah. But I just found everything leading up, everything happened too slow. And there were some movies where I'm like, nothing happened. Barely anything happened.
That's fair.
And there was a lot of filler. But again, I do understand that they were growing characters.
Yeah.
And, I think they're kind of trying to keep very true to like the timeline. And
it was also books first, and movies don't always portray the time as good as the books probably did. I can't really say much for the books. I only read the first 3 or 4.
I tried to read, but again, I couldn't get into it.
I see why you think the storyline is slower, and I think that's partly because they were books first, and when they transition it to movies, it's never the greatest.
Same. Yeah, and I do understand that. I just, for me, it just didn't move fast enough, and I had a hard time keeping myself awake during movies, which is usually not the case for me, but for these movies in particular, I'm like, there's not enough keeping me stimulated. There's not enough momentum, and there wasn't enough action for me where I'm like, whoa, like I wanted to see more like wizard fights and more, but we didn't really get that till the end.
That's
really
true.
And that's what I was missing.
The fighting scenes aren't until the last half hour. So I see your point. Yeah. I could see why some people would think that.
Yeah. So I mean, other than those two overall, like there are many other reasons I could get into, but again, I'm going to keep it positive. Those are just the two major issues that I have where I just kind of lost my appeal to the world.
And that's fair.
Yeah. But again, all those things that we talked about earlier in this episode, like there are lots of things that I do like about it. It's not, I hate such a strong word. I'm not going to use hate. It's not that I hate the world, because I don't. Like there's some really cool things. It's just, I think it could have been done better. I'm going to leave it at that.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. So on that note, we're going to transition into our wrap-up question, which is going to be, what house are you? So everybody please comment and let us know, and we are going to answer that in a moment. Alrighty. So Christina, I'll let you go first. What Hogwarts house are you?
Gryffindor!
Woo, me too. We're in the same house. Gryffindor.
Yay. That means we're brave and adventurous.
And very adventurous.
Which we are.
Which, it definitely does fit me.
It's fitting.
Way while back, I took a test and I was Ravenclaw. I remember on our trip, Christina and I took a trip and we actually did the studio tour of Harry Potter's, which was amazing.
Good. Which made me fall in love with it even more.
Yeah, and I honestly enjoyed it better than the movies themselves, the studio tour. But anyway, because I remember on a trip I was looking for something Ravenclaw, because I'm like, I'll get something Ravenclaw because that's the house I was, and I'm glad I didn't get it because I retook a bunch of the tests and all of them I took like 4 and they were all Gryffindor, and I'm like, apparently I've changed.
I mean, if you took it how many years ago?
But I always wanted to be Gryffindor anyway. And I know they
Same.
take that into account because they always ask you, what house do you want to be? But I'm like, Gryffindor.
In the test we took, it didn't ask you which house you wanted to be in.
No, not the official one.
That's the key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
True sorting hat magic, which that's another great object that we didn't touch upon.
Oh, the sorting hat. And we said it in sync.
Of course we did.
That's right. The sorting hat. Oh my gosh. I don't know how
did we forget that? Like the premise of the whole movie is getting sorted into these cups based on your brain.
Well, I'm glad we thought of it now and we've briefly touched upon it. But the sorting hat, the good old sorting hat.
Thank you, sorting hat.
So if the sorting hat were placed upon your head, what house would you be? Everybody comment. Comment on what house you're going to be. No, I really want to know. I want to know what people's houses are. But I'm glad that we are in the same house together.
Me too.
And we would.
Good thing we're not rivals, because that would work.
Yeah.
Couldn't travel together anymore.
It's too bad.
But see, we're in the same house, so it's okay.
Same house, so we're all good. All right. So I think this is a good time to wrap it up. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And make sure you tune in to our episode next week. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, be sure to check out our videos on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you check out that audio. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time.